Hi, boys and girls. Today we're working on Chapter 9, Lesson 6, Evaluate Expressions. Your learning intention is I am learning how to write and evaluate expressions so that I can successfully do harder math when I get older. So let's look at some vocabulary words that you need to know in order to tackle this work. Let me make it a little smaller so the whole thing fits in here. There we go. So our first vocabulary word is variable. When a symbol such as a question mark and blank or a letter such as X or Y is used to stand for an unknown, that's a variable. You're used to using boxes or blank lines for variables. Now we're going to put letters in there. Evaluate, when you find the value of an expression by replacing the variable with a number. So when they tell you what number to put in there, you replace the variable with a number and then you solve it. Okay, so let's look at the pages we're going to work on today. I'm going to shrink it down so you can see the pages real well. And we're going to be working on pages 533, 534, and 535. So let's start with 533. Okay, here's our first vocabulary word. When a symbol such as a question mark or a box, I put a blank in mine, or a letter such as X or Y is used to stand for an unknown, it's called a variable. That means that it can vary, like the weather varies. Some days it's sunny, some days it's windy. So variables are things that change. So a letter or a blank or a question mark can change in a math problem. So let's look at example 1. Santiago unpacked 5 more boxes of light bulbs than boxes of flashlights. They want you to write an expression using the variable X for the unknown. Before we continue, I want to show you something about marking up your word problems. If you're working on the computer and you don't have a place with your word problems like in front of you, like your book, like say you're doing a test, you can write the word problem quickly on your scratch paper. And what you want to do is look for any numbers that you see. So there's a 5. And then I also noticed the words more than. Now I had a chart that I made available to my class. That's not a highlighter. More and more than were included on the chart as words that you will see when you are adding. So there's more than. So I'm going to go ahead and put a plus sign there so that I know that I'm adding. And then I don't know how many boxes of flashlights there are. Now they want us to use X. Well, since we use an X for the time sign, when you get older, they'll teach you other ways to write the time sign. But for now, we just use an X. I like to use kind of a cursive-y looking X for my variables. So I'm going to make kind of this squiggly X, like it is cursive. It's not cursive-y, it is cursive. So it's kind of a fancy X that I'm going to use for boxes of flashlights. Okay, so you can see that 5 plus X is exactly our expression that they wrote below. So you can see that marking up your word problem can really help you figure out what you're supposed to do. So the expression is 5 plus X, and you say it 5 plus X, and the variable is X. So when you find the value of an expression by replacing the variable with a number, you evaluate the expression. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to evaluate an expression. So the hardware store has 6 fewer step ladders than extension ladders. There are Y extension ladders. Write an expression using the variable Y, then evaluate the expression if Y equals 10. Okay, now once I know that just made your head explode, so pick up all the pieces and join me because I'm going to walk you through this. 6 is my number. Fewer, I know from my chart, means to subtract. And then I don't know how many extension ladders there are right now, but it says that I have Y extension ladders. So I'm going to put a Y up here. Now, if the step ladders are fewer than the extension ladders, my Y needs to come first because Y is actually a bigger number. So it doesn't work like adding where I can just go from left to right. I have to put my bigger number first. So there's more extension ladders than step ladders. So y needs to come first. So that's exactly what they wrote here. Okay, y minus 6. So we wrote the expression, which is what they asked us to do. Then we evaluate the expression if y equals 10. So that's what they had us do. Y is 10, so we substituted the y with a 10. So we replace y with 10, and then we subtract. 10 minus 6 is 4. Okay, so there are 4 stepladders. All right, let's go to page 534. Let's look, here, up here. Sometimes an expression has more than one operation. So when there are no parentheses, you multiply and or divide in order from left to right, then add or subtract in order from left to right. Whoa, how'd the cat get in here? Hold on. How'd you get in here, Halo? Go. I didn't even know you were in here. Okay, sorry, my cat was in here. My dog barked at her. Okay, so just remember that parentheses come first. Oops. Parentheses come first. Then you either multiply or divide next, and then you add or subtract next. Doesn't matter which direction you have to go, you have to do them in that order. Which direction through the problem, left to right. Okay, Owen looked at a set of 4 pliers. His dad looked at a set that had S times as many pliers plus 3 more. The cat's not leaving, and I need to close the door. She's hiding. Okay, well, as long as she stays hidden. Sorry. Okay, so Owen looked at a set of 4 pliers. Let's go ahead and mark this up. I'm going to change pen colors so you don't get confused. Okay, you're probably confused enough. So 4 pliers. His dad looked at a set that had S times as many pliers plus 3 more. So here's my variable. I'm going to put it in a box. And then I see the word times, and I know that means that I need to multiply. Okay? And then plus 3 more. So 3 is a number, so I'm going to circle it. And then more, I know, means adding. So I have 4 pliers, and then a set that had S times as many pliers plus 3 more. If S equals 2, how many pliers were in the set Owen's dad looked at? Okay, so when I evaluate this, S is going to have to be 2. So first I'm going to write the expression. So they wrote it 3 plus S times 4. Sorry, I was looking at something. I thought I did something wrong, but I didn't. Okay, so I like to go in the order it gives me in the word problem. And for this one, that works. I would write it 4 times S plus 3. But it means exactly the same thing because you're still going to multiply first and then add second. Okay, so we're going to replace S with 2. So that's what they did right here. They replaced S with 2. In my version of it, I can replace S with 2. Okay. When there are no parentheses, first multiply or divide in order from left to right. So remember my chart here, parentheses first, times or divide second, add or subtract third. So no parentheses, so I'm going to go to multiply or divide. Sorry, I sneezed. This filming is a hot mess. Okay, so I'm going to multiply or divide first. So I'm going to do 2 times 4. Whoops. I'm going to do 2 times 4 first, which is 8. And 3 plus 8 equals 11. In mine, I would do 4 times 2 first, which is 8, plus 3, which equals 11. So it comes out exactly the same. Okay, when you're done multiplying, you add or subtract in order from left to right. So if S equals 2, then 3 plus S times 4 equals 11. There were 11 pliers in the set. Okay, let's go on to guided practice. Remember, you're going to pause before you write your answer. We're going to do one together, and then I'm going to slowly back off and have you do steps on your own. Okay, so first we're going to read our directions. I'm going to highlight in my directions so I know that I'm reading carefully. I'm going to evaluate each expression if A equals 2 and B equals 5. Okay, So I'm going to switch back to my pen here, and I'm going to pick a different color so you can see it. Okay, so 3 plus a. So if a equals 2, I can replace a with 2, and 3 plus 2 equals 5. Okay, write that on your blanks. Okay, now 11 minus b. So if b equals 5, 11 minus 5. Okay, now I want you to pause your video and tell me what 11 minus 5 is. Okay, and you should have written 6. Remember, we're doing easy math to teach you a harder concept. And then when you understand that concept, then we raise the difficulty of the math. Okay, so number 3. So b times 4. So I want you to substitute b and then multiply it by 4. Pause your video and unpause when you're done. Okay, so b is 5 times 4 equals 20. So that should be what you wrote on your blanks. Okay, now you're going to do number 4. You're going to substitute a, do your division first, and then add. Okay, so 12 divided by, I forgot to tell you to stop your video. So if you didn't stop the video, stop it now. Okay, so 12 divided by a equals 2 plus 4. Now, what I like to do is put my own parentheses around it. Multiply or divide gets parentheses. So 12 divided by 2 is 6. And then 4, 6 plus 4 equals 10. All right, let's go to our independent practice. If you are not in my class, then you are going to do what your teacher told you to do. But if you're in my class and you want some hints and you need to follow my directions, you need to follow this part. So the very first thing I want you to do, though, is to use your drawing tool. And I want you to circle independent practice. You could do it highlighter, crayon, I don't care. Okay, that's your Easter egg. Okay, so let's go back now and look at these problems. So let's highlight our directions. Fun with highlighters. So evaluate each expression if z equals 7 and y equals 20. Okay, so you're going to show all your thinking underneath in that space. So let me go through with you what things will help you. I'm going to give you some helpful hints here. Let's see. Let me pick another color to work with here. There's not a whole, oh, here, hot pink. We can use that. Okay, so we're going to go with hot pink. All right, so on number 5, you're just going to rewrite the problem and substitute z. So it will look like this. 8 times z equals 7. Oops, times parentheses minus, oh, and y equals 20. So you're going to write 20 in here. Sorry. Okay, so that one's pretty easy, and just solve it. So you're going to write that, hopefully not as messy as I wrote mine, and then put your answer, figure out your answer underneath. Remember to do parentheses first. Okay, so number 6, you have y plus 3 times 4. So you're going to substitute y, but you want to make sure you multiply first. Might want to add in parentheses here so that you remember to multiply first. Number 7, substitute y and divide by 5. Make sure you do your figuring down here in the white space. Don't just write the answer. Okay, 6 times 4 minus y. We multiply before we subtract when there's no parentheses, so add your parentheses in there. Same thing with number 9, z minus 5 plus 7. Now, when you're adding and subtracting in the same problem, you're going to just work from left to right. So z minus 5 is going to come first and then add 7. Same thing with 28 divided by z times 6. You're going to do your 28 divided by z first because that's on the left. All right, coming down here, you're going to draw a line to match the expression to its value if g equals 2. So what I recommend you do is you just go through and put 2's over all the g's. Okay? If If you need room to do your calculations, use this for your scratch paper over here because you don't need this space for anything else. So you can do your thinking over here on this side. Okay. And then you're going to find the answer to each one and then draw a line from the problem to the orange dot. Okay. And then coming down here, you're going to circle yes or no to tell whether the expression is evaluated correctly if n equals 12. So I would write 12 over the n, and then use your, make sure that you do, there's no parentheses in these. So if there are no parentheses, then you're going to multiply, divide first, and then add, subtract first. Okay? So like in this one, you're just going to work from left, the number 16, you're going to work from left to right. In 17, you need to, they have you doing that. Ooh, look at that. Okay. Anyway, did you circle for either exercise 16 or 7? Did you circle? No, sorry, for either exercise 16 or 17 and explain. So I'm going to give you a sentence frame to help you to write your answer. So exercise, they mean the numbers 16 and 17. We call them problems. So right here, 16 or 17, that's your exercise number. So if you circled no for one of those exercises, you're going to write exercise blank is wrong, comma, because. And then you're going to tell me why it is wrong, and you're going to write it here, period at the end. Remember to start your sentence with the capital letter. Okay, that's all the hints you're getting from me. Do your best and rewatch the video if you need to, pause whenever you need to, all that. Okay, good job, guys.